Yo, what's poppin', guys, and welcome to a series that I've made in the past that I want to remake and make better. So you may recall my most popular tutorial series ever, my RPG tutorial. I make an RPG in Scratch. Now, I think that's a fine tutorial as it is, but there are some things that I don't like about it. There are some things I want to add to it, and there are some systems that are just totally, outdated and are very resource heavy on your game that I think I can optimize and make better. So today I will be sort of restarting the series a little bit, of course adding new things such as more than that one battle mechanic I came up with. I'm going to do more of a turn-based battle mechanic this time and stuff like that. So today we're going to start with the basics, and we're going to start with maps and moving the character around through our maps. Now, so the way we're going to start this is we're going to take this cat. You see this cat? We're going to hit that delete button, and we're going to send him to the stratosphere. He will burn up in the atmosphere on the way down and die. So what we're going to do is we're going to start off just by coming up with a player. Now, spend as much time on your player as you want. I'm going to spend no time on it so I can get along with the tutorial. How does that sound? So we're going to come here. We're just going to make a blue circle, and boom, this will be our character. I'm just going to call him player. Okay, there we go. Oh my lord. Let's do that and then make sure he is centered. And boom. Now if we add a green flag clicked and we go to control tab and grab a forever loop and put that there. Grab an if statement, and we'll keep this out for now. Go to your sensings tab, grab a key space pressed. Set this space to, you can use WASD or your arrow keys. I'm going to use WASD just for the sake of this tutorial. I feel like it'll be a little bit nicer to use. But what else you can do is you can do an or. You can do an or up arrow selected, so it counts as both. I'm just going to use W for the sake of it being easy. So W key is pressed. We're going to go to our motions tab, and we're going to grab a Y, because since W represents our up, Y is our up and down axis, and left and right is our our X axis. So let's move that by, say, 2. Okay, we'll move up by 2. A positive number will be up, negative number will be down. So what's the opposite of W in terms of the arrow keys? That's an S. And then that'll be -2 on the y-axis. We'll duplicate this again, set this S to an A, and then we're going to want to grab a change X, since X is our left and right axis. And A would be negative, since we are moving left, we're moving a negative number, so that'd be a -2. And then we'll grab it again. The opposite of the A is a D, setting it to a 2. If that was a bit fast for you, that's because I've made a tutorial on basic movement before, and also if you're watching this tutorial, chances are you already know how to do this basic stuff and you want to learn how to do some other stuff. So if I'm going a bit fast, I'm sorry for that. Put my speed down a little bit if it's going too fast for you. I'm very sorry, but we're going to put that in here, and then we'll see if we'll save our project and play our game. You will see that we can move our character around the screen all nice, just like that. Fantastic. Now what we're going to do is we are going to make some maps. So you can do this as a sprite, or you can do this as a backdrop. For the sake of convenience, I'm going to be using backdrops to do this. So we're going to come to our backdrop, and we're going to make our first map. Now this first map that I'm going to make is going to be some grass, right? Some nice grass. And then I will do a little bit of a path, right? I'll do a path just like this. So boom. And we're going to label this accordingly. I'm just going to call it 1 for now. You can name it whatever you want, whatever naming scheme you want. Just go ahead and put that there. And now what we're going to want to do is choose a map that I can switch to. So I'll switch them to 2. And in 2, let's just say I'll have another one of these that sits like this, right? Boom. And then we have 2 crossroads, right? Maybe I want to make this a little bit fancier looking, so I can do this and then drag this down and drag this up. And then boom, it's a little bit off. That's kind of gross. Do that, do that. There you go, that looks better. It's a little off, but I'm just doing this for tutorial sakes. Obviously, spend more time on your maps. So there we go, we have 2, and I'll just go between these 2 for now. So what we will do is we will need to create some sprites. Now the sprite that we're going to create is, considering you're going only these 4 directions, you'll only need to make 4. If you want to make more, for example, maybe going to this corner will bring you somewhere secret. We can cover secret paths in a different video. So if you want secret paths, we will do that in a separate video. But for now, I'm just going to do the basic 4 directions. So what we will do is we'll make a sprite called left. I'll make a sprite called right. I'll make a sprite called up. And a sprite called down. Okay. So for each of these, I'm just going to make a black square or a black rectangle that is the size of the, you can't see that, hold up, I just realized if I do this should be better. Okay, there we go. So you'll see that I made this rectangle that is the size of our path, just like that, right? Okay, feel free to center that. In fact, I recommend you do that. And then you can just take this and copy it right into your right sprite as well. And then if you come to your up, just copy that, hold down control, come to this rotate, and you'll see, or not control, excuse me, hold your shift down, and then as you do this, you'll see that it snaps to the easy degrees, and just put it horizontally. And then you can copy that one and duplicate that in the down tab. So now what you'll do is you'll see you'll have 4 sprites. Your left sprite will go on the left, your right will go on the right, your up will go on the top, and your down will go on the bottom. Set them up just like this. Just put them right up against the walls, just like that. Just make sure you set them there using the mouse and the scene editor. Oop, a little bit off. There we go. Down right there. Okay, that's where we want them. Now let's go to our left sprite and grab a green flag. And when the green flag is clicked, what we will do is we will have it go to this location. Considering you set where you want it already on the screen, you should see that it is identical with where you need it. So like as long as you move it, see, like let's say I have it here right now. Let's say I move it over here. So what I want you to do is I want you to watch this. Watch these right here. Okay, watch them over here. If I move them, you'll see that they update automatically. So if you have them in the place that you want them, they will be automatically updated to go there. So that's where I want that. And then do this with the other ones as well. So grab the green flag clicked, and then just drag out where you're wanting them. So let's put that here. And then do a go to. And then put green flag here. And do the go to. Fantastic. All right. Cool. Now you'll see when we, so let's say you scramble these up a little bit, right? You put them around, and then if you hit the green flag, they all go back to where they need to go, and you can move your character. Fantastic. Exactly what we want. Now let's set up the transportation. Since I only have 2 things set up, I want to right off the bat choose where we're spawning the player. So go to your backdrops tab and press the green and do a green flag click. Go to your looks tab and switch your backdrop to your first backdrop, whatever you wanted your player to start on. So you see I start with this, and you see these are here. We will fix that in a moment. So we'll actually do it right now. So let's do this. So obviously on this first screen, up and down shouldn't exist. Left and right should exist because there's 2 places to go, right? So exactly what we want. But let's say we didn't want that. Let's say our first path looked like this, okay? See, that's what our first path looks like. So there's no reason to have this here either right now. So we'll grab, so this is our left, up, and down need to be hidden. So how do we do this? What we will do is we will put a forever loop underneath the setting, right? And we will do an if statement, right? We'll do an if else. You're going to want to grab an or block and put it right inside. And then you're going to grab an equals symbol and put it in the first one. Go to your looks tab, grab backdrop number, or if you're using a sprite, you're going to need to set up a variable that constantly changes based on what costume the sprite is on. Okay, so that might get a little bit confusing, but just imagine this being that variable. So if the backdrop number equals, so we'll want it on 2, right? Because 2 will be this, which all 4 of them will then be visible. So if it equals 2, you're going to put a show here, and you're going to put a hide here. Now, as you continue to make more areas where you want them to be shown, you will keep duplicating this and putting it in there and then adding a new number. Right? Fantastic. If you want to do it even another way, you could in theory write a list of all the numbers that it's on and then have it check that. I'm not going to do that though, since that can be kind of slow sometimes, so we're not going to do that. I'm also going to delete the starting variable. You don't need to do that though. So then what you're going to do is I'm just going to take this forever and you're going to drag it over to the rest of your up, down, and left sprites. So in the right sprite, we're going to put that on the bottom, and right is also going to be hidden, left is going to be hidden, and down is going to be hidden. So now you see if we start the game, they are all hidden. I just realized we also hid our right, and our right does not need to be hidden. Our right does not need to be hidden, so we can just keep it just like that. No, we can't, because it'll always hide it. It doesn't show in the first place. Right. Right. So what we need to do, I don't even know why I just did what I did there. So that was a bit weird. Hold up. I don't know why I did that. So we actually need to keep the equal symbol. I'm actually an idiot. And you'll do a 1. Okay. So backdrop number equals 1. And it also shows up on 2. So we'll duplicate it just like that and do 2. Now when we start our game, you'll see that that one shows up. And then if we switch our costume, or switch our backdrop to 2, we'll see that they all show up. If we switch it back to 1, they all disappear except the one that we need to be visible. Fantastic. Now what we can do is we can set up a system to actually go through the little portals. So this is the right one that we're that we are creating. Again, if you had them anywhere else, you put them anywhere else you want them. So what we can do is come to player, and I will actually be making a duplicate of this player and calling it player. We'll call it, I'm actually going to do it in all caps so it's easier to find in menus later. I'm going to do player hitbox, and all I'm going to do here is I'm just going to paint both of these a red color, and then I'm going to shrink it down smaller than the player. Okay, let's set them both to go to 0, 0. So this is what it will look like. Right? And then go to front just for showing. We'll see that that the red is smaller than the blue. This is exactly what we want. If anything, I could probably shrink it down a little bit more, honestly. There, just like that. And you'll see the hitbox is there. You can kind of see a little ring of blue around that if you really, really look. But that's exactly what we want. You just want the hitbox to be smaller than the player. And now what we'll do is, this is all in the player hitbox, so we can actually take it out of the actual player. And instead we can do forever go to player hitbox. And if we come to our player tab in our forever loop, or our player hitbox tab, we can do set our ghost effect. So set the color, change it to ghost, set the ghost effect to 100. Therefore the, and also don't forget to show, and do that with the player too, show. That way it'll be invisible, but it'll still be able to be controlled. So you'll see here, it looks like the player is moving. Really, the hitbox is moving and the player is just following it. But it still looks like you're just controlling your normal player. And again, if you don't have a circle and you have a more complex character design, maybe you have some cool pixel art, I'd recommend doing a rectangle or a square and placing the hitbox at their feet. And again, their head can be totally not have a hitbox on it. It really depends how you want to play your game. I always recommend making the hitbox smaller than the actual, player that you'll be seeing. It just works better for a lot of situations, especially if you're using squares. Squares are usually very, very, very good when it comes to hitbox. It's so good, in fact, that I'm actually going to do it with mine because it's just that much better. So I'll make a square around the same size. Not really, but we'll do that. And let's see how that looks. So we'll just set the ghost effect to 0. And you'll see that's our player's hitbox. Probably make that a little bit bigger. There, that's our player's hitbox. Box, hence being the name that it is a circle. We're going to set that back to 100. Now what we can do is we can run some tests with the hitbox. So what we can do is we can make a block and we can call it interactions. Let's call it that. Let's call it interactions. And we're going to hit run without screen refresh. What this is going to do is run without screen refresh means that it won't wait, right? It'll do it instantaneously. It won't wait for ticks to run by it. It won't wait for a tick in a game to run by. It'll just run it instantly with no regards to anything else. It'll run it really, really fast. and then you'll have this block. And now what this block is going to do is you'll see you have two interaction blocks. You have this interaction blocks and then a define one. What the define one is you're basically going to code what this little block does. So you can put this block in here, right? And then it'll run whatever is listed here. So you don't have to, so let's say you have this. Like this is, so now this block, this little tiny one, does what this says. It's just an easier way of running these without having to duplicate this a whole bunch if you use it multiple times. So we're gonna put interactions right underneath all that. Actually, I'll put it on top. Interactions. And since we're running without screen refresh, it'll happen instantly, so it won't interrupt our movement system and slow it down in any way. So now in our define interactions, what we can do is we can do an if statement, and we don't even have to have it in a forever loop because this interactions block is already in a forever loop. So this will constantly run because it's constantly running interactions, which is defined by this. Sorry if that was a little bit confusing. Again, this is not a very like beginner tutorial. This is probably a little bit more intermediate towards advanced, a little bit probably in between those. But what we can do is we can do if touching, and we're gonna do if touching left. We're gonna duplicate, say if touching right, duplicate if touching up, and duplicate if touching down. All of these, and remember these left, right, up, down are equal to these sprites. If you named them something else, you'll find them here. But if you name them something else, it's the same thing. It's just because I called them that they are called it here. Now, what we are going to do is we're going to define what they do. Right is the only one we have set up to do something right now. So let's start with right. So if touching right, then what it'll do is it will check if, go to your operators tab, grab an equals sign, put 1 in the first one because this is going to be if the backdrop is 1, right? So go to your looks tab and grab backdrop. Oh my goodness, go back to Hitbox. Do backdrop numbers. If your backdrop number equals 1, aka in my case where it is on right here where we are at, if it is 1, then what we will do is we will switch the backdrop to 2 because that is where it is taking us, at least in my mapping. Your mapping will work completely differently unless you're following me exactly, which if you're following me exactly, I wouldn't. I'm not going to do a full-fledged make a story from start to finish. I'm just showing you basics and what you'll need to put the puzzle pieces together and finish the rest of it. Now, along with that, we'll also need to choose where we're going to go next. Now, this is where you're going to need to take into consideration how big your hitbox is. So obviously, if we come over here and it changes to this, we're not going to want to be over here. We're going to want to be over here like we just moved, right? So you have to take into consideration how big the hitbox of your portal is and how big the hitbox of your player is. If you put your hitbox right here to teleport, what's going to happen is you're going to spawn and you're going to touch this one instantly and it's going to teleport you right back. So make sure your hitbox is placed in front of your portal so that you don't touch your portal. And again, this player, this one that people see, doesn't matter if it touches it. All that matters is the hitbox. That's the important part. So then what we'll do is in our player hitbox, we will then have us go to this area. So let's take a look and see what happens. So we spawn and we're going to move right on over to go touch this portal. Now you'll see, let's see if I can emulate it. So you'll see I can make the player, what we see, touch it. Yep, and nothing happens. Right, but it's only when the hitbox touches it do we teleport and go over here. See, now let me show you the reason why. Let me show you the reason why this isn't a good idea. If you make the hitbox touch this, right? So this would be negative 221, right? If you make the hitbox actually touch it, what will happen is you will teleport, you would touch this and you'll teleport and instantly touch the other one. So we don't have it set up. Let me set it up real quick. So let's set this up. If we touch the left one, which is over here, if we touch the last one, we will check if the backdrop number is 2, which is what we were on, right? If this is our backdrop and we walk over here, we want to go back to this one, right? Back where we came, right? So if it's 2, we will switch the backdrop to 1. And we will have, oh, we are still playing the game. And we will have the player go right there. Okay, so 209. And again, you can always find the location right here. Okay, now let me show you why this is not a good idea. Watch what'll happen. Okay, we go over and touch it. And you see it's looking like we're instantly getting teleported back to this location, like it won't load. Now I had people comment this issue on the original project, and I never explained why it was happening in the project. So this is me explaining it now, knowing some issues that we had. So you see that it's not letting you go to the next area, and that reason is because we are having the hitbox touch that portal on this side, which is why we want it in front. So if it's in front, it won't touch and instantly teleport us back. That's what we want. That's generally speaking why we set it up like that. So now you'll see we have it set up like this, and we play the game, and we go ahead and we walk over here, and we go ahead and we're gonna go touch this portal. You see when we touch it, we get teleported, no problem, and we can walk back and forth between these scenes now. And again, setting up other scenes, you just need to make more backdrops, and it's all the same for everything else, including touching you up, touching you down, touching everything you need. It's all listed just like how we need it. Just to make sure, I'll set up one more in case anyone might be confused. So here, I'll do this. Let me copy this. So I'll take this, I'll do Control-C. I don't even need to, I can just duplicate this, right? Duplicate this as 3, hold down Shift to lock on axes, and then take this and just go like this. Let's go boom, boom, and let's take this and put this here and move it down. Okay, boom, just like this. Now this is 3. So now we'd access this, we'd access 3 from 2. So let's say on 2, I want you to go up here, and then when you go up here, this is what shows. So what we need to do is we need to be on 2, which would mean touching our up would make it happen, right? So we touch up. If we touch up, and our backdrop number is 2, which is where which is what this frame is, we will switch the backdrop to 3, which is where we're going to be going, and we will teleport the player to the opposite side, which would be down, which would be right there. Okay, which means we go to 0, negative 153, and again, the way I know where we are is because it always lists the area of the sprite right here. Fantastic. Now we need to do quite the opposite now. Now we will duplicate this for our down, enticing that we are right here now. Going down would bring us back to the second backdrop. So we will check if the backdrop is 3, and if so, it'll bring us back down to 2 and set our costume up here at 153, positive 153.0. Now we also need to do something that hides left and right, because right here, left, right, and up don't need to be showing, right? So actually, no, this is exactly what we need. Okay, boom, it's already set up. Okay, so let's take a look. Also, if you want him to spawn somewhere specific, like let's say I want him to spawn right here, since it's the first costume he spawned on, or hitbox, excuse me. So our hitbox, have him put it right here, okay? And then you can just do this right underneath the green flag to have him go there. So that when we start, no matter where we are, our player always goes there, and like we can do this, but he always comes back. Okay, really quick fix. Not even that there was something broken. So walk over here, and we can go between these two areas, all fine and well. And then let's say we head up here to go up, and now that does this, except you see that it doesn't show our down. Why isn't it showing our down? That's because here we say if it's 2, it shows if else hide. So what you do is you duplicate this OR, and you set this to 3. So then if it's 2 or 3, it will show. Let's test this again. Start as our player, start moving him along to this path until he touches there. And now if we come up here, we will teleport up, and then we can go back down into 2 and go between these multiple scenes at the same time. Fantastic. And now that's where I'm going to leave this tutorial. Thank you all so much for watching. If you're excited for this series reboot, making things a whole lot better, definitely definitely subscribe to the channel and like the video. It helped me out a whole lot. But that's all I have for you guys today. Stick around. Hopefully next Sunday we should get the next video out. Every Sunday I'm going to be hoping to add a episode to this tutorial. So thank you all so much for watching. I'll see you all in the next one. Peace.